In 2012, Lexus debuted the jaw-dropping LC concept, and just 5 years later, a near-identical production variant, the Lexus LC 500, graced the market. This sleek and head-turning coupe gave luxury buyers a reason to look at Lexus instead of the German high-performance coupes. And fast forward a decade, Genesis, luxury division of rival Hyundai, is having their own LFLC moment with the X Concept Trilogy. If you haven't been paying attention to Genesis, it's not too late to pull your head out of the sand. This vehicle right here was just debuted at the LA Auto Show here in 2022, which took place just a couple days ago. I wasn't able to see it myself. My friend David Chow got invited to this event where he was able to see the vehicle. He had only amazing things to say and share with this concept. Now, I'm going to take a step back because it's not the first time we've seen this X concept. The first version came out in 2021, March 30th in the spring. That was the first. Remember, it said trilogy. And then we had the second entry, which is kind of like this longer fastback sort of design. This is my least favorite of the three designs, but I wanted to break down the images of all three concepts and like why it's so exciting for Genesis as they bring electrification into the future. This is the first X concept. Simple wheels, more of a traditional grille that we see on their gasoline cars. It really has like 1 foot into their current sedans. Let's look at the G80, for example, and then it has 1 foot into the future as well. We have these parallel lines, which if we look at Genesis teasing, they've been teasing these parallel lines for a while now. I'll pull this up for you. So we have these parallel lines on all these concepts. Now, this is a lot of models in their lineup. It's possible more than what we have currently. So it looks like 4 crossovers, which we're really close to that already with the GV70, GV60, and GV80. And then you have the electric variants of those coming out. And then you have 4 sedans and or coupes. So this one looks like the X concept to me. And this looks like a G60 or G70, G80, G90 sort of situation going on. So going back to the original concept here, we've already had this profile. Looking at the back of this, it really hunkers down in the back with a very elegant design. Now, you see this oval. That's kind of like this design pattern we've seen on a lot of Genesis models, especially on their interiors. So cool to see that oval in the back. Looking at the front from this angle, gorgeous looking sedan. And then from the side here, this is screaming like American muscle cars from the 60s and 70s. What do you guys think? It's gorgeous. I can't wait to see it. And the wheels, these 5 spokes do kind of scream that muscle car mentality. And then we get on the interior. Genesis has some of the best interiors, maybe the best interiors for the money out there. Like Lexus used to be kind of like the front runner, but I think Genesis might have them just narrowly in most of their models at a specific price point. Also, Volvo, in my opinion, is right up there as well with interior design and quality. So I know it's a concept and it's not indicative of production necessarily, but if we hold out just like the LC became a production car, maybe we can hold out as well with this trilogy showing the future for Genesis. The next vehicle, which is the worst design, which is still a cool looking car, but it's the worst design of the three. The proportions on it just seem a little bit off. This bubble in the back just stays too big, too long, and this rear window just doesn't look right in my opinion. It looks the same from the front overall with the dimensions, but they've taken away the classic grille here and put in what kind of reminds me of like a Thomas the Train sort of smile going on. I kind of like the front end of the first concept a little bit better, to be honest, but it still looks good from this angle, even though the window proportions are throwing me off a little bit. Still have that oval rear as well as this light bar that goes across the deck lid kind of as a spoiler. Now, they actually brought it to an auto show. We can see it next to the DeLorean back here, which is kind of funny. I would say this has a far better chance of becoming a production car than the DeLorean remake. But from this angle, it looks pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. It probably looks better now that I'm seeing it under real light, real daylight. And look, remember they had the 5-spoke wheels with the sedan, giving it a more muscle car vibe. These things are, it looks like Spider-Man hit it with a web on top of a 5-spoke wheel. It looks pretty dang cool. And of course, you have those neon green calipers in there, which kind of reminds me of the GV60 Performance. So looking pretty sick. I'm not quite sure how I feel about the lines just ending at the door crease here. but it's definitely eye-catching. There's no doubt about it. Here's the interior of that vehicle, which has a little bit more detail. Looks maybe slightly more ready for production than the first X Concept was. I like the square pattern on the door, just a simple oval here. Again, that oval theme we've been talking about. We have nice speakers up here on the dash, digital display here, just high quality materials everywhere. Here's an up close look at the detail of probably what could be Lexicon. They also have used something recently that wasn't Lexicon. I think that was in the GV60. Maybe it was like Bang & Olufsen or something. It was a different brand. I'll have to fact check myself on that. The rear seats look exquisite, as they should in a concept vehicle. But man, we can get our hopes up that the production version would be somewhat similar. I like the ambient lights around the armrest here. Makes it seem like it's floating right in the clouds. Now this is kind of confusing, but what this is the cargo area. You can see the headrest here. It's a coupe, even though it's a really long looking coupe, and you have like these luggage straps that look like seat belts. There's the back end of the Speedium coupe. Not my favorite back end. Again, the proportions a little weird. And then we get to the vehicle that was just revealed at the LA Auto Show. I'm taking this one to the bank. Look at this design with the hard top up. It is absolutely stunning. We have these 3D wheels that are just asking for you to curb check them. It's going to be a long wheelbase as an EV. So it's good. It would be easy to drag this rear wheel onto curbs wherever you live. So even though it looks amazing, I hope these wheels don't jut out and make the vehicle wide. I don't think it's legal, to be honest. But they are really cool conceptual wheels. Same sort of theme back here as we've seen in the other two concept vehicles, but the roof line looks so much better here than it did in the Speedium. Here it is with the top down. Again, we have more of that Happy Meal. I guess I called it Thomas the Train earlier. Now it's Happy Meal for me. Kind of smile on the front end going on with these light bars, replacing what would be the traditional grille, but it still looks really, really good. More of a traditional luxury look over what in the first vehicle, the X Concept, was more of a muscle car look. So it's crazy with just a different wheel design, different grille design, and then add a convertible to it. We have something that is making this vehicle feel way more luxurious than the original concept. I think that just about ends it. I think we have a couple pictures here of the interior. Again, taking that square door panel that we saw in the Speedium concept, and we're actually adding, instead of leather everywhere, we're actually adding some cloth, which I kind of like. I don't like having leather everywhere. That's probably why I'm a sucker for a lot of Volvo interiors with their high quality fabrics and wool. So I like the combination here of the leather and the wool, or this high quality fabric here. We also have these ambient lights I don't remember seeing on the other concepts, but they have reused the speakers here. And we have this panel on the armrest, or should I say where the shifter would be, or where your typical climate control would be. We have like a digital map here, and you have climate control underneath of that. And then kind of like that crystal ball that we see in the GV60. Steering wheel is pretty cool too. I like the fabric around the Genesis logo. We have a boost mode, which is similar to the GV60. So it's getting a little bit closer to a production. We even have like 85% battery here. So I am pretty jazzed about this new concept from Genesis. And again, as we end out the video, heading over to the EV spreadsheet, I wanted to talk about what would be the competition, or what's already out there for EV luxury vehicles. There are already a handful of Genesis EVs out there, with the GV70 electric being built in Alabama fairly soon here. First Genesis vehicle built in America, mind you. We also have the G80 EV, which is the best EV I've driven yet. And I think the price isn't right in here. It's actually closer to $80,000. So this thing was an absolute gem. Love the vehicle. And the GV60 was good, but I actually prefer the Ioniq 5 over it. I think it brings a better value, and it's very similar driving experience. So we also have the German competitors. They just updated the e-trons for Audi. They're now the Q8, SQ8. I talk about the EQS SUV here, which is by far the most expensive vehicle that I have on this list. There's also the BMW iX. Now, those are crossovers. So what does this thing kind of compete with on this list? Maybe the i4. This is a coupe, so there aren't all that many electric coupes out there to my knowledge. If you guys know of any, let me know. I'm drawing blank at this point in time. So it's really hard to compare this vehicle. But what we want to see here is close to 500 horsepower like we have on the GV60 Performance or the GV70 vehicle coming up. And, you know, geez, those coupes, if they can come in, I'd probably say at around 90K, I think they'd be very competitive. The LC500 is around 90K, and the convertibles, oh gosh, like 100 plus. It's a lot of money. So I think if the design is really close to those concepts, they come in, let's say 300 plus miles of range, which I don't think is hard to do on a coupe EV like that. And also has a long wheelbase, so you'll be able to stuff a large battery pack underneath, at least this 87 kilowatt hour battery pack that we already see in the G80 and GV70, for example. So the Triduum, the trilogy of X concepts, please Genesis, bring at least the coupe. Well, the normal coupe, I could deal without this shooting brake looking thing, unless you guys tie up the proportions with the windows. It just looks a little bit off to me. I said that 100 times in this video. And then the freaking convertible is just dead sexy, reminding me of the dead sexiness of the Lexus LC convertible. So, man, Genesis, bring these vehicles out. It will have the world with their jaw on the floor, and this will bring a lot of attention to your models. Last thing you need to do is build up a dealership network where you can really market these extremely high quality, high premium design sedans, or should I say coupes at this point. But guys, what do you think about the X concept from Genesis? Which one is your favorite out of the three? Is it the more traditional looking muscle car, the standard coupe, or is it the shooting brake speedium thing, or is it the convertible? If you made this far in the video and haven't hit the like button, I would really appreciate that. Make sure you're subscribed for upcoming Genesis news and reviews, and all Korean and Japanese auto news and reviews as well. Catch you in the next one. Have a great day and peace out.